how we get started, Lad, I guess, kind of talk about how you like to play soldier, or if you want to, if it's easier, if you play on a map, something that you like that you can explain, that would work also.
Okay. Um, well, how I like to play soldier, I guess, I chuckled internally when you said I was a lot different from Heat, but it's not. You're not wrong. Um, I'm kind of I'm a very new school player, relatively, so I don't have a lot of clan experience. So I developed a very hit scan oriented style of playing this game because I played only 4v4 pickups. So as a result, I played a lot of medic and I played a lot of soldier, which developed me into just being really, really heavy on the shotgun, which is kind of, I guess, what I'm known for in this game. Um, so the biggest thing in TFC that makes me a little bit more unique compared to other TFC players, especially the more players like Wheaties or Heat, who have a lot of 9v9 experience that I don't, is I'm a very aim heavy player. I play positions in a very aggressive and forward manner in order to do maximum damage and calm as much information to my teammates as humanly possible. I think that's really my greatest asset on defense is I'm a very good frontline player um, who outputs a lot of damage and calming also. I know it's not related to aim and it's not really what I'm here to talk about, but in TFC, information is by far the most important aspect. So no matter what you're doing, no matter what position you're playing, if you're not calming as efficiently and accurately as you can, you're not playing the game to as high of ability as you could be. So just want to throw that in there because I really can't understate the importance of calming. But I guess you could throw it on like Siege really quick. I think Siege would be a good example. It's a pretty good way to highlight. Monkey would be the same thing, but I think Siege is more commonly played.
Okay.
That's good because he talked about Siege too.
Yeah, Siege Ramfram is one of the most hated spots for Soldier that most, especially if you're not like very familiar with this spot and you're playing against skilled players. This spot is really frustrating because you have to block Shoop, but if you just stand down there, you're effectively useless. It's also really, really boring. So how to play this area is really important, and there's a lot you can learn as far as like enemy rotations and reading the death messages and everything else like that. So ideally, what I like to do when I play this map is actually to play front door right about here. You get a lot of sound cues. You can hear them land bats. You can hear them land over here because it'll be on the very far left of your headphones. You hear them land here. So you're able to get a ton of information on where they're gonna go. And if you hear like two thuds bats and nobody comes either way, you're gonna know they're here, so you can rotate back really quickly. But Siege Ramfram is one of my favorite spots because depending on the flow of the game and how it's going, you have a ton of variety in terms of what you can do. The most standard spots are going to be the front door arch, and because of like, and it's a good spot because you get to do damage. You hear them, so you get to line up your shots. And when it comes to aiming, a lot of people overthink it, and they think you should just be able to like react in any situation and just instantaneously hit someone. But while that is a really nice skill to have, it's really unreliable, and it also like requires a lot of uh, how would I put that? Like mental energy. Like it's very taxing to play in a way where you're constantly just having to react to stuff at a really quick rate. So really, really good aim is something that's more about how you position yourself in the game than it is about your raw absolute mechanics. A lot of players who have, I would say middle tier aim, um, can be incredibly good at this game because this is a lot more about positioning and slowing down the offense, and controlling the pace of the game than it is about just, it's not Counter Strike. You're not going for headshots. Um, A perfect example of like a player who has mid-tier aim but is an absolute one of the best players in the game is Wheaties. Wheaties does not have like exceptional aim, but his understanding of where to be and how to abuse that position is something that most players don't have. So you wouldn't know that he doesn't have like super fast reactions because he's always positioning himself in ways that make up for that. Because the biggest thing is with positioning, like, and this is a prime example, is you can set up your shots and it makes it really, really easy. The less movement you have to do with your mouse in order to set up a shot, the better and the more accurate you'll be because you're making more precise movements, but they're not huge, they're not sweeping, and it's easier to react to that. So a lot of aiming is learning how to read the game so that you can react to it in an efficient manner. So much more than it is, you know. I don't know if the if you guys have ever gotten into like Kovacs or anything like that, but there are aim trainers that you can use that are just purely for raw mechanical practice. And they do help, but I've never used them extensively because they help in that very raw mechanical sense, but they don't help with the understanding of what game specifically you're trying to play. So they're not gonna be good for situations outside of the very narrow scope that they give you to practice. So, anyways, back to Siege Ramp Room and how positioning is really important for setting up aim. The front door arch, like I said, you hear them and you can set up your shots easily, especially with rockets in this nice little narrow hallway. The other most common spot is like in front of the chute, and this is where I find myself playing the most these days. Because everybody is so fast on O that it's really hard to play the arch unless all four of them die and you know you're not going to get snuck up on from bats. So I usually play in front of the chute box here, and this is also a good position to really like practice your aim because they're going to come through the arch or they're going to come through bats. Every once in a while, they're going to come through actual water, but you can't see that, you can't hear it, so it's not, don't think about it. So with those two positions that you know they're going to come from, again, it's really easy to not have to adjust your mouse very much. And it's there's a lot of set moves people do. You know, they come front door and they conk up to water, or they conk straight to ramp, or they try to conk straight to you at shoot. So there's a lot of just really easy shotgun shots. Like honestly, it's kind of like playing pole. After a while, you see it so often that it's really easy to predict, and you can get 2 or 3 good shotties on someone on their way to either or direction. And again, you're calming it, you're damaging them. It makes it harder for them to attack the back line, which is what you want. You want to control the pace of the game and not allow them to move the flag at a ridiculous pace so that it's easy for the defense to stay nice and set up and comfortable, which is what you want. But there's a lot of positions like Siege Ramp Room, where the frontline soldier has a lot of options. But I guess the most concise way I can say this is try to position yourself in ways where the movement you have to make to readjust your aim while you're fighting someone is the least amount possible, and it will make hitting your shots and holding your position a lot easier. If you're constantly getting caught out in open areas where your opponent has an advantage on you, whether it's pre-prime nade or you're just in the open, so your rockets are a lot harder to hit, is you're gonna die over and over and then lose your positional advantage. Is there any questions or anything? I like a broad overview of how to aim. I can definitely keep talking about, but more narrow, if anybody has anything specifically that they've been trying to deal with in terms of fighting people in this game, I would gladly be able to talk about.
Yes, CB. Just hide.
Didn't you learn anything from Heat last week, CB?
Okay, I learned a lot from Heat last week. I'm interested in hearing multiple perspectives on the same topic.
I know you were falling asleep last week, so
Dude, I was passed the fuck out last week, man.
Passed
I
out
think
on
it's
a
a good
heat.
question.
You need to get the seagull laughter out. Would have
Yeah,
kept you wide awake.
how do I do that?
Well, mostly you just have to do something really funny to either Sheet or Nuki, and it will become a chain reaction. As soon as one of them starts to laugh, the other will laugh, and then it's a feedback loop.
That makes perfect sense.
Well, Tex has a question on stream for you, Lat. Um, Tex says, ask him specifically where to aim with hit scan on fast-moving players.
Oh, okay. You want to join up, Nuki, and honk in front of me like you're gonna go to ramp?
But then people can't see.
Oh, that's true. Gosh darn it, I didn't even think about that. Okay, well, if you're just spectating me, I can kind of show. So, TFC is weird. I'm not sure how the code actually works. Once you get into the nitty gritty of it, but in my experience, whether I have a low ping or a high ping, if I just shoot direct, like if I click on the model, no matter what, it's gonna register a shot. The blood animation will be delayed if you're on a higher ping, if you're laggy. But the important thing is when you're shooting a hit scan gun in TFC is just trust that if your crosshair was on the model when you clicked on them, they're gonna bleed no matter what, no matter how fast they're moving as well. It might be delayed, they might be in the hallway already and the blood is showing up right here, but you're gonna hit them. Hit scan is any non-projectile, yes. So all your shotguns, your single shotgun, your double shotgun, the AC cannon is hit scan. But generally, what I do on a fast-moving player, if they're like conking by, because they're gonna do like two things, especially like on a frontline position. They're going to conk to the area they want to go, or they're going to try to like conk by you or fight you. They don't actually have a whole hell of a lot of options. So what I try to do is if they're gonna conk by me and I can kind of tell based on their movement, like I said, I try to put my mouse in a position where I have to do the least amount of adjusting in order to set up for changing where I'm aiming. And I just aim at the body. I always aim at the body. In TFC specifically, I aim at the center mass as much as I can. And that seems to do more damage. I'm not sure how the damage calculation works in this game with shotgun, but center mass has always been my best friend. I try to save my nades for if somebody is gonna be if someone's gonna DM me, I try to save my nades for that situation. Sometimes if I'm not playing as well as I should be, I like overly spam my nades basically as soon as I spawn. But if I'm playing to like for the W, if I'm gonna try hard it, I will absolutely try to save my nades for when they're fighting.
I think CB had a question earlier.
Yeah, in text.
How would you handle multiple incomings and stopping yourself from going overwhelmed? Overwhelmed. You just retreat. Generally, yeah, because it's more important to stay alive and hold your position than it is to kill one and let two completely healthy players in to attack the back line. Your goal as a frontline defender is always to make sure that the back line has time to set up for the incoming offense. So you dying and not being able to hold position at all, even if you retreat, there's three offense in like the ramp room, but they're not in the flag room, they're not down the water hallway setting up a double conk. They're in the ramp room. Like on the front line, it's definitely more if you have a viable route to retreat, it's definitely more important to back up and make sure you don't die and hold your position than it is to go out there and try to be a hero. And 1v3 when it's probably just not going to happen. I don't care how good you are, especially if you're playing against good offense. 3 good medics versus 1 good soldier, I know exactly who's going to win that fight every single time.
So do you use your rocket in this position?
Not as much, not unless they're gonna try to get in the shoot itself. I don't try to like do this or do that. I might throw a rocket nade combo at front door if I'm trying to predict when they're gonna be there, based off the death messages. But otherwise, yeah, I save my rockets for when they're here. Because while I'm known for having really good hit scan, my rockets in this game are not as good. Rockets in this game are super slow compared to Quake. Yeah, because rockets in this game are also, if you hit a good one, are really, really powerful. They can knock a medic down. One good rocket will knock a medic down to damn near useless. So raccoon hunting. I don't know why you would even ask me such a thing. Threatening our little Nuki. Good luck. I would wish you good luck. That's all. That's the advice I would have. Raccoons are fierce animals. They might seem playful and tender obsessed, but they're not.
They're trash pandas.
They're trash pandas, and they will defend their trash empire with their lives.
That's fair. So, I'm sorry, Lat. At first, I appreciate very much the talk. Did you cover the flag room soldier position or just frontline? I apologize if I missed
I'm
it.
mostly talking. No, that's absolutely fine. I'm mostly talking about frontline because I'm actually not really much of a flag room soldier. I hate playing near the flag. I always feel not nearly as useful when I play on the flag because as a flag room soldier, your job is to hold the flag, and while that is the objective of Team Fortress Classic, I'm just significantly better at calming and doing damage. So I'm much less effective as a flag room soldier. I can talk about it, but I'm not very good. Like I said, I would much prefer somebody like Wheaties to talk about like flag room soldier and positioning relative to like where the flag's going. Because I always like to play in front of it, in front of the flag, somewhere where I can hold up a position and stop the flow in one way and damage everybody else. Oh heck yeah, dude! Map extending. All right, boys. Any insight on offensive soldier? I am way too new school for O soldier. I don't think I've ever played O soldier the entire time I've played TFC.
Yeah, O Soldier was a thing back in my day. They don't do that anymore.
It's just too slow. There's no why have an O soldier? You can have a medic.
Okay. We have another question on stream that says, when he's actually using his RPG, is he holding a sight line and firing, and when enemies cross it, or does he snap to players?
I snapped players with RPG, absolutely. I don't try to set up like a long prediction shot. Once I'm DMing someone, I will try to predict their movement with a rocket. But yeah, I don't try to set up a sight line with rockets where it's like kind of. I guess sometimes it, like I said, if you do a rocket nade combo, do something like that. But overall, I use my rockets when I'm actually just DMing. I don't like try to spam too hard with them because you only get 4. How are you alive?
I'm sneakier than a raccoon, apparently.
The
Maybe.
sneakiest I've ever seen.
Okay.
We could talk about Concame as well. I have pretty decent understanding of that. It'll be kind of crappy to show though, because I know when you're spec, you don't get the conk effect.
Yeah. Well, I guess you could still talk about it.
The biggest thing with Concame is that, and like, don't ever let a player like Doug tell you that you should play with weapon models off, because he is 100% wrong. Biggest tip I can give you with Concame is when you're conked and your gun model is swaying upwards, your aim is below the crosshair, and when it starts swaying downwards, your aim is above the crosshair.
Wait, say that one more time.
All right. So when you get conked, right, your gun will sway up and down with the figure 8. When your gun is like pushed up, the further like how it's further away from you, your aim will be below where your crosshair, like your fake crosshair, is right now.
And when
And
it's
when it
lower,
kind of
it's above.
yeah, when the gun tucks back in closer to you, it's above the crosshair.
That is fantastic. What about conking with rockets? What's our best strategy there if we're conked?
I mean, the same principle applies when the rocket launcher is like further away. Your aim is below the crosshair. When it's closer to you, it's above it, so you can still predict there. My thing that I really like to do, kind of subconsciously at this point, is if I get conked, I try to hit at least one more shotgun. And if I see the blood, if I get the hit, I have a vague idea of where my aim is, and I just try to adjust from there for RPG aim. I don't know why I can't kill you. It takes me like 8 shotties to kill you.
So you don't do any of the tricks where like you look down and then reset from like
No.
a known. Yeah.
Nope. No, I anything that where you have to move your mouse like that. Like I play at a fairly low sends. Like that's just unnecessary movement. That would actually probably mess my aim up more.
Did I hit you with this conk?
Yeah, you did.
Are there any other
Yeah.
soldier positions that you would say are really difficult to hold?
For frontline, a lot of people somewhat struggle with Monkey T. I love Monkey T though, and I don't usually struggle there. Siege Ramprum on the main maps is probably the biggest offender. Phantom Button Soldier can be very difficult just because you're working in a huge open area and it's hard to, I guess, utilize your resources as best you can. Plus, you don't have a close by spawn, so you're always low because you're getting spammed all game.
You want to go to Monkey? Just to talk about it?
That'd be kind of
Yeah, we
cool.
can.
I have one more question for Lat though before we change. Do
Okay,
you use
what's
old
up?
models or new models?
Old models all day,
Thank you.
Not even a contest. Old
Thank
models
you.
all day.
You have my newfound respect, Lat. Thank you.
You're welcome. Waste health and armor RJing in the position. Yes, especially if you have any way to resupply or get more health and armor.
Wait, so it is a waste of health and armor?
No,
Or
it's not.
not?
It's not. Especially
Yeah.
if you can
Okay.
restack. I mean, you probably don't. If you have to rocket jump like 2 or 3 times to get in a position, it's probably not going to be worth it because you're going to be so low. But if it's just one rocket jump, like lower spawn on Monkey to T, then yeah, absolutely worth that.
So we have a question on stream. Wait, it's a question for me.
There you go, Nuki.
Is there a top blood sprite choice of top tier players? I don't know. I just used the one that looks pretty. Or the blood splatters. I don't know, lad. What do you have any top tier blood sprite?
I've used the same blood sprite since I was able to get a hold of it. So, I mean, I guess yeah, my blood sprite. It's not mine; it's Fong's, but I've used it. Custom flare. I used the very small flare. If you look it up on like Hamster's TFC file repository thing, it'll say EC TFC AVI flare. That's the one I use.
We could link our blood sprites in chat afterwards, and then you could see which one you like. I don't even know which one I use. I think it's like some old school player called Venom or something. Another question from Tex. How big is your 360 these days?
I actually play at a lot higher settings than I used to. It's like 30, 33, somewhere in there. I actually don't know the exact math on my settings right now, but it used to be 42. And I have raised it to 30 because Quake Champions, you have to be really, really good at a variety of movement styles. And it's really hard to do some of them at low settings. So I've been raising it for that game.
Okay, we'll move to Monkey.
Yeah, I got about 20 more minutes, Nuki, and then I gotta go play Quake, actually.
Well, everyone get your questions in before we lose Lat to Quake.
Lose me to Quake. Alright, so Monkey T. This position, despite the fact that you have a respawn here, it's very easy for players to feel overwhelmed. This is one of my absolute favorite positions, though, because if you have good shotgun aim, I don't know if there's a position that rewards it more than Monkey T. Really easy to feel overwhelmed, though, because it's really quick for them to get back into position and be able to fight you. People like to get real cheeky and use the cap point against you, you know, that tiny little bit of high ground. They use the area of the bag against you. So as a soldier, you actually really don't have a whole lot of control out here. There's not a whole lot of map control. Like you're here, like they have to deal with you, but I like Monkey T a lot because you get a shoddy all day. Especially if people are afraid to DM you, they will literally just conk by you and go water, or they'll bunny hop by, and you literally just get a, you know, hit him 2 or 3 times over and over and over. It just fills me with dopamine. Really easy to hit people as they go ramp as well, because it's really predictable. They'll set like a conk here and then just like really smoothly coast down. It's so easy to hit people. Anyways, but when you do get overwhelmed and people are actually fighting you, you've got some guy here and some guy here and some guy up here. Pretty much the only thing you can do is turtle up and just hold T. The T is really, really important because it makes it easy to get the guns. And also, if the gun is down, if they bunny hop in, there's a demo or a heavy. I don't know if you guys play heavy. We don't play heavy anymore, but demo or a heavy, and they can get really easily DM'd from T. So T is like really, really important on this map because you calm everything. You give your flag room basically wall hacks with your comms. And then on top of that, holding the T position is really important for especially the engineer. So if they're overwhelming you, by all means, turtle up. Don't ever feel ashamed. That's what this position is for. If you try to fight, 2 or 3 on 1 out here, you're gonna get wrecked because this little area is just heaven for nade damage. They have a little bit of high ground advantage on you. But if it's like a 1 versus 1, or like a 1 versus 1, and you've already got one like damn near dead and some other guy shows up, you can absolutely fight out here. You can really abuse this position. You can bait people into trying to bunny hop by you and hit them with like a prediction rocket. Like, there's a lot of really good combat situations that occur at T that you can abuse with a little bit of experience. But mostly, really good area to practice your shotgun aim. Get them as they go water and ramp, and they'll get mad at you. Do I just whore the spawn? I mean, yeah, you're gonna want to whore. This is a blessing, you know. Once you get used to playing Monkey T, you're gonna want to spawn near every position you play. Like Ellie on 2-fort, bottom Ellie. Give me a spawn, please. I can hold this position all day. This spawn's even super OP because it's just one bag, and it completely stocks you on health and armor. Like, so ridiculous. And this is actually a good position where I would use prediction rockets, especially if you stand like here by the water entrance. You can hear, like, I used to like to play here, but this puts you out of position to hold the actual T, and players nowadays are really quick, so they can get around from the right side of the T very quickly. Back in the day, it was a lot easier to hold T from here, but I do like to play like here or even like around the corner a little bit, because from right about here, somewhere in this area, you can hear them land front door. You can hear it all the way over here. And this is another really good position that will teach you all about how amazing the audio system is in Half-Life. You can hear front door from right here. If you back up into T, you can hear them. You can actually hear them. Oops. I actually did make that jump. You can hear them land here from the back of T if they like jump down like this, and they make that sound. You will actually hear that from T. And so with even if you can't see the water, if you hear that, you know exactly where they are. You know exactly that there's a medic going to water. Yeah, see, you heard him jump. There it is. Boom. It's like free wall hacks. That's another thing too, I guess. I should have brought it up on Siege. I kind of did with like the same kind of landing things. The sound in this engine is actually like the best in any game I've ever played. Like for competition, this sound is super duper honest. Very easy to pinpoint like vertical sounds if they're above you, if they're below you, like and you can really, 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 really abuse it if you know how to listen for it. Just don't go deaf turning your volume up because the fucking explosions are so obnoxious in this game.
It's telling us that like most people should play in the shoop, like on Siege.
You should play in front of it, yeah. Rotating super far out of position nowadays is pretty risky because everybody is just so fast on offense. Everybody conks really well. Everybody bunny hops really well. So I'm not, as time's gone on, I definitely play a lot closer to home than I used to. I used to be a very, very aggro player, and I would always play like left side front door on Monkey or front door on Siege because you would always be able to just like rocket jump back or bunny hop back and be able to catch somebody as they tried to go into your main position. But nowadays, people are just too fast, or they'll read it, like they'll know like, okay, he's gonna push up the arch because all four of us just died, and they'll go bats and they'll have a conk prime and they'll just fly through the ramp room. Having a read on what your opponents are liking to do is really, really important, and obviously something pretty hard to do. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Did you just say what I think you said? It seems like you don't like the pre-fire rockets, seem to favor Shoddy. Heat does as well. I've always thought of Heat as a more rocket-oriented player. Heat's the kind of player that like just wants to get in your face. Maybe that's how he plays versus me.
That's what he taught us, basically.
Yeah, close the gap and just get in people's
Yeah.
face. Yeah, that's
kind of
100% what Heat
Yeah.
likes to do.
that was Heat's thing, but I was trying to ask him about pre-firing rockets because I've noticed some soldiers will just like hit you with perfect timing. And it seems that he's like, well, don't worry about that from far away. You can throw some shotguns at him. It seems like that seems to be the new strategy. Where
Yeah,
you
because
just throw
shotguns are
shotty.
easier to reload, they're instant hit, and they don't waste a rocket. With how I think of the game, I like to save my rockets for if I have a player who's like right next to me because they can deal so much damage. If you get a good splash, it can catapult them away. And they take forever to reload. They take fucking forever to reload, and you only get 4 of them. So I try to save my rockets as much as I can for um when they're going to be in my face. I do like to throw one. It depends on the map. Like on Shutdown 2, I'll throw rockets at the front door. If I'm playing ramp, I'll throw it at like the front door right hallway when they're trying to conk up the ramp. On this map, I'll throw them right here where I'm standing as they try to round the corner. I'm not against pre-fire rockets, just don't do like 2 or even like, 2 is already too many. Like if you're gonna throw one and let it reload and then maybe throw another one if no one's coming your way, then yeah, that's fine. But don't waste your rocket arsenal trying to go for that one, right around the corner perfect hit. Because if there's like 3 of them and you only hit 1, well, now you don't have any rockets. And if you don't have any nades, all you have is a shotgun. You're gonna have to hit every single shot from your shotty and your single shotty.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
That's another thing too. Don't be afraid to use your single shotty. Single shotties are rad. They don't do as much damage, but they reload really quick.
So we have a question from Sandro. He said, I saw you play near mid ramp in front of Shoop once. Is that okay since you're still in the trajectory towards the Shoop on Siege?
Yeah, yeah. It's all what good positioning is very relative to what's happening in the game at the time. Reading your death messages, like I read the death messages all game, every game, because they're especially in 4v4 when it doesn't get all muddled from having 2 simultaneous 4v4s happening. Because as soon as you see all the blue names on the right side, you know, especially in quick succession, you know that your base is cleaned up. You've got about roughly 10 seconds before the next medic shows up. Depending on how far apart they're killed, that's going to be staggered. So it's going to be like 10, 12, 14, 16 before they're all back in. And you can deduce where you want to go just based off that information, whether you want to be aggressive and push forward and try to catch the next round of offense on an offbeat and they're not going to expect you there, or whether you want to just keep playing it safe and play further back. Like, how you want to play is entirely your directive. There is no right way to play, whether it's super aggressive or super defensive. It's all how you would like to play. But it's all about using that information. Those death messages are incredibly crucial in giving you information on where you should be or where you can be, would be the more accurate way to say it.
We have another question from Bees. He says, do you prefer louder voice comms or louder game sounds?
I actually play with voice comms a little bit louder than my game, but I actually play with both at I would say moderate levels. TFC is a really loud game, especially if you play it for extended periods of time. Um, so I try to play. Obviously, I have sound on. I'm not going to play like completely deaf because you can't. In this game, that would be really bad. Um, but I do play it. I don't have blaring sounds, is what I'm trying to say. I don't play at hyper loud volumes.
Ja
I was
has a
gonna
comment that says Doug would disagree.
Okay, well, how Doug feels about anything is irrelevant in my case. Me and Doug could not be further apart in play styles.
I'm
But
sorry.
Jaw's just trying to troll me. I know, Jaw.
I'm sorry, I cut someone off.
I was gonna ask, going back to Siege. So if you're in the shoop, like with your sounds, can you tell which way people are going?
Yeah,
Wider
yeah.
ramp? Yeah.
You can hear conks if you play forward in the shoot. You can hear conks. So like if you hear a conk, um, it's a little bit more guessing and just kind of experience because you can hear the conk, but you probably if you stand in the shoot and they hit the conk from the arch, sometimes you'll see them curve and you can automatically they're going water. You know, they're curving around the big ramp to go into that hallway. So you'll automatically know from there. The further to the right it is, generally means it's more down the right hallway, and they will conk into the ramp hall. And when I said the right hallway, I mean the right front door hallway at the arch. And if it's the sound is more to the right of your headphones, the right side of them, that means they're probably going to try to conk from that right hallway, front door arch into the ramp hall. The water one is really hard to hear unless you hear a landing sound up top, like this one that we were talking about earlier. Because if they mess up the ramp, or not the ramp, the water conch, and they have to, like, they hit the top of the big ramp, or they just nail the wall and they drop down, you'll hear that. And that'll immediately tell you. Also, if they're bunny hopping from bats, there's that part on bats where there's those steps from spawn. If they bunny hop down that, they'll make that sound as well. and that'll tell you they're on the catwalk, so you can probably calm. They're pretty comfortably going to go water.
Yeah, I tried listening the other day playing that position after he was talking about it, but I just had no idea where people were going and gave up really quickly.
Yeah, I mean it's experience. I mean I've been playing pretty consistently since 2007. And I probably played more 4v4s than I would ever honestly be able to count. So it's just a lot of experience in terms of reading the sound and where people are going to go as a result.
Yeah, there's not too much to configuring the sound in this game, right? So
No,
it's not.
I
Yeah,
just have default sound, like honestly.
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
We time checked 10 minutes before uh top of the hour. I think the last request is mortality. T.
oh, we can totally talk about. I love that position. So yeah, by all means, I'm down to talk about mortality. It's not really T so much as it is main, right?
Yeah, main soldier.
Okay. I actually really do enjoy this position. It's one of my favorite positions in the game. All right. Same concept as Siege. I really like to come to the banana hallway. We call this banana. I call this banana. I don't know why I say we because I don't know who I'm referring to, but I call this banana hallway. This is a map that because the yard is so big, if you have an instance where like 3 medics die or 3 offense players die in quick succession, you actually have a lot of time to either kill yourself to get more health and armor and reposition, or move forward. Because on this map, there's a lot of rotating back into the flag room. Because if you got 2 or 3 medics back here, the gun's gonna go down no matter what. Like you gotta support your flag room. So mortality T is a very volatile position. There's a lot of moving around. There's a lot of repositioning. Um, when your flag room is nice and comfortable and set up, and you've killed 3 or 4 of the offense players, I love to hold this banana hallway because you can hear them. You can hear them. Whoa. Okay. I was like, why am I not shooting? You can hear them. You can't really hear them land per se, but you'll see them before they see you. And if they land on this little ramp, I think you'll hear that. But I don't think you'll hear it if they land on the flat. But you have line of sight on them before they have sight on you, thanks to this awkward little corner here. And if you stand here, you'll be able to see Ellie as well. So I'll usually just stand here with my shotty out or my rockets out and just have my crosshair like here. And then it's boom, adjust here, or boom, adjust here. Either way, not much work. If they're not gonna come front door, or only like one is, I immediately rotate back here. A lot of players like to stand right here and just block this, which is a reasonable strategy. But you give up all the room on this. So mortality, the way I play mortality is it's really hard to kill people unless you have a really good initial rocket or you have nades. So what I try to do is I try to damage them, and stop them from immediately like conking from here to here and swooping right into the flag room super easily. Because a lot of situations you're gonna end up DMing medics around this huge pillar. So you'll like be fighting them here, and if you hit them, they're gonna back off, and they're gonna use this to cut off your lines of sight, and you gotta walk around, and it can be very hassling. Especially if like you fight them here and then they prime a nade and then they back up and you come around the corner and then boom, they just throw it at you and you die right here. So a lot of the fighting for this position is centered around playing around this massive pillar. Um, it can feel like a very frustrating position to hold because you'll hit a player like twice and then they'll back off, but they had a conk prime, so then you'll like come around this corner to shoot them and they're gonna fly in and then you get conked and you're like, oh, I'm terrible, I can't stop him, he's everywhere. But as long as you damage him, it doesn't matter. Like, well, it does matter, obviously, you don't want to let people through, but as long as you're doing damage and that back line doesn't have to kill a full health medic from scratch, you're doing your job as effectively as you can. Um, Yeah, yes, very much so, CD. Because you can stop a lot here. This is a really good hallway for a soldier. Like I said, you have line of sight on them before they have sight on you. You'll be able to hear them, especially if they jump or anything up this ramp. And if you play like over here, they won't see you. So they'll jump thinking they're safe, and you just got a free sound cue. And now you can set your aim up and be like, okay, they're gonna come right here, and then boom. You can prime a nade at that point. This position gives you a lot of information. You also can hear a lot of the fighting that goes on at top, because top soldier usually is like right here or near the bag. So they'll come up bats and they'll be fighting here, and you'll be able to hear them fighting up there. And then the top soldier will be like, there's two up here. And then say you've got one guy here, so that's already 3 offense accounted for, and you got to figure out where the fourth is. And you can rotate back accordingly if they break through top. Or even if they don't break through top, you can rotate back just to make sure it's safe. Mortality, like I said, because of how massive this yard is, you have a lot of free time in between offensive rounds because it takes so much time to get back to the red base. When you request a top soldier to push up more to request more drop down comms, not really. If they're playing here, unless they conk up all the way over here and then drop down behind this, they're not going to get down unseen. And even if they play like bats, you give up this entire line of sight. So I prefer most top soldiers to play near the bag and the spawn, because A, they can stay healthy and spam nades at the offense all day. And they can generally, like, if you play like right around this area as you're moving back and forth, trying to watch everything that you can, you'll see over here. I don't think that playing bats is like an amazing idea unless the flag is ramp room, or all 4 of the offense are dead and the top soldier wants to just cut off the quickest rotate back in, which would be bats. I don't usually make requests of my teammates while I play. I try to play around players as much as I can. So like if a top soldier wants to play bats and like only play bats, I'll probably play less banana and play more around here. That way they don't get just a free drop down. Because drop down is pretty important on this map. If you get around here completely clean, you get a drop down. Unless the soldier's playing here, it's really hard to cut him off at all. You might hit a shotty or two, that's about it. But same thing with water too. I actually really like to go water on offense because this part of the map is so barren by defenders. Like they don't come over here really. They don't try to defend over here. So you never knew that was there. You never knew about the water?
No.
Wow. Yeah, you can get to it from yard. It's kind of long. It's definitely a very long water route, but depending on where the flag is, like it can be a free access. Like they might not even see you. Hypothetically trapping a raccoon in the water. Well, first of all, you're gonna have to get a raccoon near water, and if I remember my biology classes, raccoons don't like water. So I would not recommend drowning a raccoon because the fight to get the raccoon in the water is going to be ferocious. And yeah, I mean it probably just won't be worth it, to be honest. You're gonna incur a lot of self-damage trying to get that done.
All right, time check. 2 minutes left. Does anyone have any last questions for Lat before he has to go?
Nope.
Oh, Bees has one question. Lynn, do you prefer using your nails?
I prefer using my nails when I'm about to die, and I need to. I like right here. Say I'm about to die. Like right now, I have 23 health. Nails, regular nades, anything I have left, I try to put at the choke point of whatever position I'm trying to hold to cover for me while I'm gone. Essentially, that's when I like to use my nails. The only other option you really have is to spam them forward. So, like, say instead of coming here after all 4 are dead, I just throw a nail there. That's another effective use of it. But nail nades are really good for choke points and either slowing down and damaging or outright killing people who are trying to rush through a small, narrow area. That is by far when they're most effective. So I try to. I'm not always very good about it. I try to save them for when I'm about to die, and then I just leave them on my body or whatever, so that way they cover wherever I'm trying to hold for as long as they can before I get back.
All right, I think that's time up. Thank you, Lat. Thanks for the different, viewpoints of playing soldier compared to what we heard from Heat last week. Um, but yeah, thanks again.
Yeah,
Thank
you're welcome.
you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I
Let.
hope it was useful. I tried. I'm not much of a teacher, I won't lie. So, thank you very much,
Lies.
Sarah. And yeah, I have to go practice some Quake now. So I appreciate all y'all hanging out and listening to me talk about TFC.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Yeah, you're very welcome.